Marshawn has got the world traveling thing out. You know, he was in Scotland. I saw him walking his bike.
It was funny.
It was funny.
It was good.
But you know what I think the thing is, Skip? I think Marshawn, after that Super Bowl, I don't think he got that taste out of his mouth. I don't think he ever let go of that. He could not understand, after I ran so well in this game, and we have the ball on the 1 yard line, why would you not give it to me at least one more time?
Yep.
He voiced his opinion that I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they didn't want me to win MVP. Maybe they didn't want me to be special that day. I don't think he's ever gotten over that. And I think it left a sour taste in his mouth. And, you know, he wasn't the same guy that when he came back, he had a lot of nagging injuries. But I just don't think his heart was in it because it's tough to lose a game like that when you're so close. And obviously he would have to be released, or they would have to, make a trade for him. But Skip, I like this. He's a Bay kid. He's an Oakland kid. His family's there. His friends are there. This makes perfect sense to me.
Yep.
They also have Richard, the great scat back, who's a returner, but he's very, very good on third down, so you wouldn't have to rely so much on Marshawn. But if they get Marshawn, I don't think they're getting him for 100 carries. He's going to probably carry the ball 200 times, skip 225 times this year. They lose Murray, so this seems logical to me. I believe of all the backs that's out there, I believe he's probably the best fit for the Raiders. And because of the price tag that Adrian Peterson has, I think he's less appealing to a lot of teams. And the hardest thing for an athlete to do, Skip, is to not see themselves how other people see them. Adrian Peterson still sees himself as a great back. He sees himself as a $10 to $12 million back. But the other 30 teams saying, that's not how we see you. And it doesn't matter how you see yourself because you're not paying yourself. How do other teams see you? So, but for them to think about this, Skip, now I want you to think about this. They would rather have a guy that was retired for a year as opposed to a guy that was an MVP, a 2,000-yard rusher. I think that says a lot.
Unfortunately, it does. I opened up yesterday by saying it was sad to me for Adrian Peterson because he's getting doors slammed in his face, and I'm sure it's eating him up.
Of course.
Because you know how facing that athletic mortality gets. It's hard to look yourself in the mirror and then say, "What just happened to me? Where did I go?
Skip,
you had to go through it."
Think about this, Skip. How hard he trains, how hard he conditions and works out and eats properly. And Seattle said, we would rather take a guy that we got to motivate. Not only are we paying him $3.5 million, but we got to put incentives in his contract to make sure he makes weight once a month. We would rather have that guy.
They up the numbers. I mean, Pete Carroll's going to be a little more lenient because the max bottom is, the minimum is 245. So Green Bay was 235, and Pete's going to say, I want him bigger. I'll let him go to 245, but that's it.
So what does that say, Skip? They would rather have him.
That's correct.
Because think about it. $3.5 million is not enough to motivate him to keep his weight under control. We're going to give you an extra $80,000 or an extra $100,000 every time you hit one of these benchmarks. Man, I tell people all the time, and this is my favorite story I tell athletes, I can motivate you by fear, I can motivate you by reward, but the only motivation that's sustainable is self-motivation. If it's not in you to motivate yourself—
That is a fact. I'm with you on that.
You're wasting your time.
It's all about what's burning in your stomach and your heart.
Well, we know what's burning his stomach. Tacos,
that's
honey buns, fried chicken, cupcakes,
you are correct.
Donuts.
You are correct. Back to the dilemma here. Marshawn versus Adrian Peterson. They're both about the same age.
Actually, Marshawn's a year younger.
About a year, but he's about to turn 31, and Adrian's going on 32. But they're in the ballpark.
Came out in the same draft, 5 picks apart.
Got it. And this is tough for me because the one guy I don't bet against, certainly on conditioning, is Adrian Peterson. So does he want to play? Is his fire still burnt? Yes, it is. The problem is he's coming off a knee injury that really restricted him. I thought he'd bounce right back because it was supposed to be just an arthroscopic surgery. Nope. He's had the complete reconstruction going back before he bounced back with the
That was the end of December of 2011 because he won the MVP in 2012.
You got it. So that's troubling for a running back of this age, and he is a high collision back, as Marshawn been. But this is the question I have, and I'm with you on what happened in Seattle, I don't think he ever recovered from what happened on the last play of that Super Bowl, or it was their last play of the Super Bowl. And yet, the question I can't answer, did he lose heart because of that play, or did he lose some desire for running into people? Because I don't know. It's somewhere in there. There's probably a little lost desire, but it could be, if you can argue with me, it's all lost heart, that he still wanted to play football, that he still has 2 good years of football left in his body, especially after a refreshing last year when he got to take the whole year off.
Right.
Then you are correct. It's not even close. You have to go Marshawn. But if he lost some desire for running into people, you might be in for a rude awakening about game 2 or 3 when you start saying, wait a second, he's not beast mode anymore.
No, Skip. I mean, his background, and if you saw the piece, I think it was Showtime or 60 Minute Sports, where he said he was trying to run through a mofo's face. That's who he is. That's what he does. I think he lost heart in them.
Okay, then you got it. And as you say, he's from the mean streets of Oakland, California, right in the shadows of that stadium.
Yeah.
And the Raiders were in L.A. when he was born, but I think we figured out when he was 10-ish or so they came back.
Yeah,
so his
since
formative
95.
years, since 95, he knows Raiders in Oakland. So it wouldn't be a good fit. It would be the perfect fit, the second act for Marshawn Lynch to come home, literally to stay home and help put the Super Bowl, the Raiders into the Super Bowl. They got a shot. It looks like New England's prohibitive, but I thought all along this year they looked like they were destined to wind up in Foxborough in the AFC Championship game. So maybe that's what happens next year.